You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith.
Hey, Catholic Sprouts. Today is Friday, July 17th. And this week we have been talking about the body, health, and fitness. So we've been talking about how our bodies are really good, and then how we should honor our bodies by sleeping enough. I hope you slept enough last night. By eating well. I hope you're having a good, healthy breakfast and healthy meals today. And by exercising. I hope you get outside today and exercise and have some fun. Now, today we're going to talk about sports. I love sports. I grew up playing soccer, ice hockey, and track. And then I played soccer actually in college. And now I row. So I do crew on the river. So I'm very, very active, and I love to lift weights, and I love to run, and I love to stay active. What type of sports do you like? Do we have any basketball players out there? Any other soccer players, softball players, baseball players, lacrosse players? What other sports? Swimmers? I'm sure there are so many different athletes out there listening to this. And if you're not an athlete, or if you don't necessarily like sports, I encourage you to give it a try. Sports can be really, really fun, a good way to stay active, even just getting outside and riding your bike, going for a walk, going for a hike. These are all ways to stay fit and active. Now, what I want to talk about is how to be a good athlete, how to be an athlete for God. Yesterday, we talked about the importance of glorifying God with our bodies. And this is why I love sport, because sport allows us to use our bodies in order to do something incredible. And when we play sports, we have the opportunity to use our bodies to their fullest potential, to train them to be able to do amazing, amazing things, to be fit. And when we play our sports, we want to make sure that our motivation, that the reason we're playing these sports is to honor God. Now, what do I mean by that? When we play sports, we want to win, right? Well, sometimes winning or wanting to get the best time or wanting to score all the goals or wanting to impress our coaches or our friends can become more important than honoring God. Now, all those other things are important, right? We want to listen to our coach. We want to be competitive. We want to win, and that's awesome. But when that gets in the way of God, it becomes a problem. So what we want to make sure that we do is that when we play our sport, we thank God. So God gave you your gifts. He gave you your body. He gave you the ability to run, to jump. And so when we play, we want to thank him. And we can do that maybe by saying a prayer before we start our games and giving our games to God. By after our games, whether we win or lose, by thanking God for the opportunity to play. We also want to make sure that we are working as hard as we can on the field, because that's a way to glorify God too. He gave you this opportunity to play this sport. And so we don't want to cut corners. We don't want to stop. We don't want to not do all the sprints. We don't want to complain. Instead, we want to work really hard to thank God for the gift that he gave us. It's also important when we play sports to be a good son or daughter of God. And what I mean by that is we want to treat others, to treat those around us with respect. We want to encourage our teammates, right? Be a source of encouragement, cheer for them. We want to be kind to the other team, be good sports, show sportsmanship. If they get hurt, to help them. If they do something awesome, to compliment them. It's okay to be competitive and want to win, but we want to make sure we're showing others respect. The same goes for our coaches. We want to make sure we're listening to them and their instructions. And for referees, we never want to talk back to referees. We want to thank them for helping us be able to play our sport. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the fact that we can offer up our sports. We can offer up our workouts. We know, and we've heard this before, maybe we can offer things up, things that are hard. You stub your toe, offer it up. But when we work out, right, we are sweating. It's hard to breathe. Sometimes our muscles are cramping. Well, that's the same thing that Jesus went through in his crucifixion, right? He sweat blood. He was tortured. He had trouble breathing. He had to carry a cross, which is like lifting weights. And then he offered himself body and soul on the cross for us. And so when we play sports, we can actually offer our games up, our practices up, our runs up, our workouts up to God. So what I do is before every workout, I say a prayer and I say, okay, Lord, I offer up this workout today for my friend who's sick. Or when I was on a sports team, and my friends didn't know the faith or didn't know Jesus or were struggling, say we were going to do 5 sprints. The first sprint, I would start with the girl next to me and I'd say, okay, Jesus, this sprint is for Sarah, that she would come to know you. And I'd run that sprint as hard as I could. And that was my prayer for Sarah. The next sprint was for Gabby because she had a big test that day. And so I prayed for Gabby and I ran that sprint as hard as I could. And I would go down the line. And so when we play our sports, when we're practicing, when we're running, when we're training, we can offer them up for our family members, for our friends, and for our teammates. And that is an awesome, awesome way to glorify God through our sport.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow. But until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be.
If you would like to connect with me further, please check out fierceathlete.org or email me at info@fierceathlete.org. So Fierce Athlete is a ministry I started in order to promote true identity and femininity within female athletics based off the teachings of the Catholic Church. So we have social media presence, we have a podcast, we run camps and retreats and clinics. I do physical and spiritual personal training and coaching as well with athletes and former athletes and individuals looking to get in shape. So if any of this interests you, if I can help you out in any way, please email me at info@fierceathlete.org or check out fierceathlete.org. Thanks so much.